When magicians speak of energy, what are we really describing? It's one of those words that we use so often that it starts to lose its edges. Um, we talk about raising energy, sending energy, feeling someone's energy, clearing a space of heavy energy, as if we all know exactly what we mean. But do we? Are we talking about some invisible substance like a mystical electricity? Are we referring to emotion, to intention, to atmosphere, or is it something else entirely, something that doesn't fit neatly into any of those categories? Let's be honest, the word energy has become both central and slippery in magical language. It's our catch-all term for the felt side of existence, the pulse beneath things that's too subtle for our physical senses but too real to ignore. We feel it when we cast a circle, when we meditate, when we touch a place that's sacred or haunted or alive. There's something there, something that moves, that responds, that breathes with us. But to really understand what magicians mean by energy, we have to look beneath the word itself. Because energy, as we use it in magic, isn't the same as energy in science. When physicists talk about energy, they mean the measurable capacity to do work, such as kinetic, potential, thermal, chemical, electromagnetic, quantifiable, precise, definable. But when we speak of energy in magic, we're describing a different kind of phenomenon, not mechanical, but experiential. It isn't about joules or volts or calories. It's about sensation, about connection, about the life that moves through things. Across the world, every culture has found a way to describe that life movement, that animating breath. In China, they called it qi, the flowing current of life that animates all beings, circulating through meridians in the body and through the landscape itself. The Chinese character for qi originally meant steam rising from rice, the visible breath of the invisible. It's not a static substance, it's a process, a motion, a relationship between form and formlessness. In India, it's called prana, the breath of life that moves through every living being. In yoga and tantra, prana is said to ride the breath, flowing through subtle channels called nadis, animating both body and consciousness. Breath, mind, and spirit are inseparable in this view. Each movement of the lungs mirrors the pulse of the universe itself. To breathe is to participate in creation. In ancient Egypt, the word was ka, the vital double, the living essence that gives shape and motion to the physical form. Among the Polynesian cultures, it's mana, a sacred power that inheres in all things and can be accumulated, directed, and transferred. The Norse spoke of Other, the inspired fury that fuels both poets and gods. In the 19th century, the German physician Baron von Reichenbach coined the term odic force, claiming he could observe luminous emanations from crystals, magnets, and the human body. Mesmer called it animal magnetism, a subtle fluid that could heal or enthrall. Every one of these traditions was describing the same basic thing, the world's aliveness, the current of being that flows through all matter and mind alike. What differs is only the language. Chi, prana, odic force, mana, these are words pointing to the same current, filtering through the metaphors and observations of different times and cultures. But in the West, when the scientific revolution took hold, that vitalist language began to fall out of favor. Life was no longer seen as animated by a sacred breath or divine spark, but as a mechanical process, predictable, measurable, explainable through chemistry and physics. The cosmos became a machine, and the human being a clever arrangement of moving parts. The idea of a living, breathing universe, one suffused with consciousness or intention, was dismissed as superstition. And yet, the language of energy refused to die. It re-emerged in new forms. Mesmerism, spiritualism, theosophy, and later, in some cases, the New Age movement, but also in magic, in witchcraft, and occultism. Every generation found its way back to this experience, the sense of aliveness that science couldn't quite pin down. And in trying to bridge the gap, people started borrowing the vocabulary of physics, magnetic fields, vibrations, frequencies, resonance. These analogies helped modern minds relate to old mysteries, but they also created confusion because energy in a magical sense isn't the same as electromagnetic radiation. We might experience it as a current or a vibration, but that doesn't mean it's measurable by instruments. So maybe the question isn't what is energy? Maybe the better question is what are we really perceiving when we talk about it? Think about those moments when you feel energy. You walk into a room where people have been arguing, and even before anyone speaks, the air feels thick and charged. Or you enter a forest after a rainstorm, and there's a freshness that feels alive, like the whole place is breathing. Or during ritual, when the hairs on your arms rise and you sense something gathering, coiling, and responding. None of those experiences can be plotted on a graph, but they're undeniable. They're felt truths, direct encounters with the subtle qualities of being. That's the key. Energy is a language of perception. It's how the body and the psyche translate the living field we're immersed in. It's the sensory vocabulary of the soul. When you raise energy, what you're really doing is entering a deeper trance or deeper state of attunement, aligning emotion, intention, and imagination until you can feel the current moving. The ritual gestures, the breathing, the chanting, they're not mechanical switches flipping on some unseen battery. They're ways of tuning yourself to a frequency of awareness where the world reveals its inner pulse. And once you're tuned in, you begin to notice patterns. Some places feel light and clear, others feel heavy and stagnant. Some people seem to radiate presence, others drain it. These are energetic impressions, not objective measurements, but relational experiences. They tell you about the interaction between your field of awareness and the environment. Over time, as you practice, you start to recognize the subtle textures of these interactions. You learn what it means to ground, to center, to clear, not as metaphors, but as felt realities. You know what it's like when your energy is scattered, when your thoughts are noisy, your emotions stretched thin. And you know the relief of drawing it back, condensing it, breathing it into stillness. In this sense, working with energy is less about manipulating a substance and more about refining perception. It's about learning to listen to the invisible rhythms that shape the visible world. It's not belief, it's awareness. You don't have to convince yourself that chi or prana exists. You just have to notice, to pay attention to the life that hums in everything. Let's bring this down to something tangible. Take a deep breath. Notice the air entering your lungs, cool, then warm as it leaves. Notice the small shift in your awareness as your breath slows. Already something changes. Your heartbeat, your thoughts, your sense of space. That's prana, not as a theory, but as a direct experience. You're feeling the pulse of the living world through your own body. Now extend that awareness outward. Feel the subtle exchange happening all the time between you and everything around you. The warmth of the sunlight on your skin, the electromagnetic field of the earth beneath your feet, the gravity that holds your body to the planet, the air molecules that were inside someone else's lungs a few seconds ago and are now entering yours. You are participating in a vast and continuous flow. Life isn't happening to you, it's happening through you. That's the heart of it. When magicians talk about energy, we're talking about relationship. The relationship between self and world, between consciousness and creation. Energy is the bridge. It's the breath that connects inner and outer, seen and unseen. When you breathe in, the world enters you. When you breathe out, you enter the world. Every spell, every prayer, every act of will is a way of shaping that breath, giving direction to the current. And here's something that often gets missed. Energy work is not about control, it's about participation. When you raise energy, you're not forcing the universe to obey you. You're aligning yourself with a current that's already flowing. You're giving it form, rhythm, and purpose through your awareness. The magician's task isn't to dominate energy, but to dance with it, to find harmony between human intention and the world's living pulse. So when someone says, I don't believe in energy, you can just smile and say, that's fine, just breathe. Because belief has nothing to do with it. You don't have to believe in oxygen to feel the air move in your lungs. You don't have to believe in gravity to fall. You don't have to believe in energy to sense it. The word is just a pointer, a way of talking about a reality that's as immediate as your next breath. The breath, in fact, is the perfect metaphor. In nearly every tradition, breath and spirit are intertwined. The Latin spiritus, the Greek pneuma, the Hebrew ruach, all mean both breath and spirit. The breath is the most intimate reminder that life is movement, not possession. You can't hold a breath indefinitely. You can only participate in it. You inhale, you exhale, and in that rhythm, you are alive. That rhythm is the world breathing through you, the living current itself. And that's what this series is all about, the living current. It's about rediscovering that relationship, learning to feel the pulse of the world again, not as a metaphor, not as a belief system, but as an experience, because energy work, when you strip away the jargon, is simply the act of awareness in motion. It's the practice of remembering that everything is alive, that consciousness and matter are intertwined, and that our every thought, breath, and gesture ripples through that field. When you light a candle with intention, you're shaping energy. When you speak a word of power, you're directing vibration. When you sit in silence and feel the warmth of your own heartbeat, you're touching the same current that moves the stars. This isn't mysticism for mysticism's sake. It's a way of living awake in a breathing universe. So, as we start this journey through the living current, uh, let this first lesson sink in. Energy isn't something you generate or believe in. It's something you notice, something you remember. It's the breath of the world, the pulse beneath your skin, the invisible thread that binds you to everything that exists. The more you pay attention to it, the more it responds, not because it suddenly appears, but because your awareness opens to what was always there. Take another breath now. Feel it. That's the current. It's not out there. It's here, moving through you, through me, through everything. And that is the first episode in this 12-part series of The Living Current. And hope you enjoyed that. Hope it's made some sense and explained a couple of things. But we'll carry on with the other episodes as the months go by. All right. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers for now. Bye-bye.